ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। भूतैर्महद्भिर्यमा पुरो विभो निर्माय श्वेते यदमुषु पूरुषा भुङ्क्ते गुणान् षोडश षोडशात्मका सोऽलङ्कृशिष्ट भगवान् वचांसि मे। श्री कृष्ण शरणं शरणागतम् कथा अमृतं सततपीबतम् भक्ति वेदांत मार्गबन्धनम् सर्वलोक ऋषिदेव जन्न प्रसन्नम् सर्वलोक ऋषिदेव जन्न प्रसन्नम्। Hare Krishna, dear Prabhus and Matajis, welcome to the morning Srīmad Bhāgavatam study session. So we're continuing from Canto 1, Chapter 9, titled The Passing Away of Bhīṣmadeva. And we'll continue with the recitation of text 12 to 17, these cluster of nice verses. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So are there any volunteers who want to recite this cluster of verses? No one? Okay, I'll recite. Aho kashtam moho nyayam yadyuyam dharmanandanaha jivitum narhatha klishtam vipradharma chutashraya samstite tirthe pandav pritha bala prajavaduhu yushmatkrite bahun kleshan prapta tokavati muhu sarvam kalakritam manye भवतां च यदप्रियं सपालो यद्वशे लोको वायुरीव घनावलिः यत्र धर्मसुतो राजा गदापानिर्विकोदरः कृष्णो स्त्रीगाण्डिवं चापं सुहृत्कृष्ण ततो विपत् नहि अस्य कर्हचित् राजन् पुमां वेद विधित्सितं यद्विजिज्ञासया युक्ता मुह्यन्ति कवयोऽपिः तस्माद् इदं देवतन्त्रं व्यवस्य भरतर्षभा तस्यानुविहितो नाथ पाहि प्रजा प्रभो। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Translation by His Loving Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Would anyone like to read the translation of these verses?
I can read it.
Yes, sorry, yes, Vedavi Mataji, yes, please go ahead.
Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhīṣmadeva said, "Oh, what terrible sufferings and what terrible injustice you good souls suffer for being the sons of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under those tribulations, yet you were protected by the Brahmanas, God, and religion. As far as my daughter-in-law Kunti is concerned, upon the great General Pandu's death, she became a widow with many children, and therefore she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal also because of your actions. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried just as the clouds are carried by the wind. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible, otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhishthira, the son of the demigod controlling religion? Bhima, the great fighter with a club, the great bowman Arjun with his mighty weapon Gandiva, and above all the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. O King, no one can know the plan of Lord Sri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. O best among the descendants of Bharat, Yudhishthir, I maintain therefore that all this is within the plan of the Lord. Accepting the inconceivable plan of the Lord, you must follow it. You are now the appointed administrative head, and my Lord, you should now take care of those subjects who are now rendered helpless. Thank you, God.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. So we're continuing with this nice theme of how to face difficulties and reverses in life. And Pandavas are the greatest example. And as stated here in verse 15 by Bhīṣmadeva, firstly he asserts in text number 14 that all this is due to inevitable time, sarvam kala kritam manye. And then he further goes on to expound in text number 15. Let's look at that. Yatra dharma suto raja gadapanir vrikodaraha Krishno strigandivam chapam sruhut Krishnas tato vipat. Translation. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhishthira, the son of demigod controlling religion? Bhima, the great fighter with the club, a great bowman Arjuna with his mighty weapons Gandiva, and above all, the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. Would anyone like to read this purport, please?
Prabhu, I can read.
Yes, Milka Mataji, yeah.
As far as the material or spiritual resources were required, there was no scarcity in the case of the Pandavas. Materially, they were well equipped because two great warriors, namely Bhima and Arjuna, were there. Spiritually, the king himself was the symbol of religion, and above all of them, the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, was personally concerned with their affairs as the well-wisher. And yet, there were so many reverses on the side of the Pandavas. Despite the power of pious acts, the power of personalities, the power of expert management, and the power of weapons, under the direct supervision of Lord Krishna, the Pandavas suffered so many practical reverses, which can only be explained as due to the influence of Kala, inevitable time. Kala is identical with the Lord himself, and therefore the influence of Kala indicates the inexplicable wish of Lord himself. There is nothing to be lamented when a matter is beyond the control of any human being. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So there is nothing to be lamented when the matter is beyond the control of any human being. Let's look at the word to word of this nice verse. The most important point in this verse to be understood is that Sruhut Krishna Tato Vipat, that even Krishna, who was Sruhut means well-wisher, the Supreme Lord Krishna, well-wisher of Pandavas, even he was present, and yet Tato Vipat, despite of that, the Pandavas went through so many reverses and calamities. Prabhupada in the paper nicely explains all this is due to inevitable time, and 5 is a representation of Krishna, identical with Krishna, and therefore it indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord. So if the Lord wishes like this for the pure devotee, his Pandavas are his dearmost devotees, then why would one want to be devotees of Krishna if Krishna wishes to, give sufferings to devotees? Question worth meditating on. However, Srila Prabhupada in other papers has explained by the examples that because Pandavas are very dear devotees of the Lord, Krishna is actually engaging Pandavas in the service of what? Service of teaching humanity by their own good examples. That how Pandavas are actually accepting all these reverses and taking shelter of Krishna, regardless of what life presents. Because this material world is dukhalayam. It is a place of misery, and it is ashashvatam, it is temporary. So any happiness is temporary, otherwise this place is full of miseries. However, when we respect time, being representative of Krishna, then actually we can learn how to be happy even with all these reverses, and reverses will come. So these verses are very important. Cannot emphasize enough that we should not only memorize these verses, but try to live by it, how Bhīṣmadeva is explaining, and ultimately how the Pandavas will follow. Sorry, again, I divest word to word. Yatra, where there is Dharma Sutaha, the son of Dharmaraja, Raja, the king. So this is referring to Yudhishthira. Gadapanihi, with his mighty club in hand, Vrikodaraha, Bhima. Vrikodaraha means he's a big eater. And Krishna. So here Krishna refers to Arjuna. Arjuna, because he's dear friend of Krishna, he's also addressed as Krishna. And Astri, carrier of the weapon, Gandivam, Gandiva, Chapam, bow. Sruhut, well-wisher, Krishna, Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, Tata, there of Vipada, reverses. So, on one hand, there was Yatra Dharma Suto Raja, Yudhishthira himself, the personification of religion and the son of religion. Secondly, Gadapanir Vikodaraha, the great carrier of the club, Bhima, and very strong, strength of 10,000 elephants Bhima had. Krishnastri Gandivam Chapi, and Arjuna, who had defeated demigods like Indra and Lord Shiva in battlefield, he was there. Not to speak of all these personalities, even Sruhut, Krishna, who is their well-wisher, Sruhut, he was there. And yet, in his presence, still, Tato Vipat, Pandavas experienced all these reverses. And Bhīṣmadeva explains all this is within the influence of inevitable time. And as Srila Prabhupada explains in the paper, and it is the explicable wish of the Lord. There was once a verse in Srīmad Bhāgavatam in which I had written an article in Granth Raj Forum. And if I can remember the verse, that verse is natasya kaschit tapasa vidyaya va na yoga virye na manishaya va. न योग वीर्ये न मनीषया वा नैवार्थ धर्मै परतो स्वतो वा कृतं विहन्तुं तनुभृत् vibhuya. So this verse, here it is said that natasya kaschid tapasa vidyayava na yoga virye na manishayava naivarta dharma parato svatova kritam vihantum tanubhrit vibhuya. So basically, when reverse cells or bad time comes, we try to counteract it. We try to counteract it how? Natasya kaschit tapasa, by doing austerities, by vidyaya, by accumulating knowledge, by doing yoga practice of yoga, by getting viryena, by accumulating strength and power and trying to counteract it. Tapasa vidyayava yoga virye and manishayava. Manishayama means using our intelligence on how I can overcome this reversal. Naivatva dharma. We try to take shelter of religion to reverse the situations. In Karma Kanda, they say, oh, if this bad time is going on, then worship this demigod, that demigod. Naivarta dharma. We try to take help of parataha. Parataha means others. And svata. Svata means ourselves. Also, we try hard. However, despite of all these efforts of yoga, austerities, taking help of others, with our own intelligence, with our own power, naivartha, we are not at all able, even with artha. Artha means money. We try to, with money, solve the problem, but we are not able to solve all these problems because it is ordained by Krishna, Tanubrit Vibhuyat. We are materially in this material world, and the nature of the material world is that when the time is up, the time is up. When the time of misery is there, the misery will come. And also when the time of happiness is there, the happiness will come. So rather than counteracting when miseries come, and rather than becoming disillusioned when happiness comes, one needs to learn to tolerate both of this. And this is what Bhīṣmadeva is impressing upon Yudhishthira. So the time factor is involved. This we have to understand. And in spiritual world, the time is conspicuous by its absence. That means the effect of time basically is bhaudikanam cha bhavanam, that anything material, it will deteriorate. But in the spiritual world, there is no deterioration. Therefore, that effect of time is not there in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, one is always in a mood of saving Krishna. When they are not with Krishna, one is remembering Krishna. And when they are anticipating association of Krishna, they are in great joy and anxiety. So in this way, in spiritual world, the time is not able to deteriorate our existence. However, in material world, what is happening, as we can see from these examples, that Arjuna in the battlefield is not wanting to fight the war. Why? Because he's worried about the future. Bhavishyet chintayet. So in the material world, the time we are here, we worry about the future. And here we see Yudhishthir Maharaj is depressed due to the past. He's overthinking about the past. Gatir shoko. He is thinking about the past, what has happened. And this is the symptom of the time factor in material world. Everyone thinks about the past. Everyone is lamenting about the past. And everyone is engrossed of being anxious about the future, what will happen in future. However, no one is thinking about how we should live presently. So, vartamanesu kaleshu pravakshante vipakshitaha, that the intelligent person, he will live the present. So in the present, two things are there. What? Swadharma nirato yastu. Whatever our duty is at present, we just have to do that, regardless of all the waves of material worlds up and down. Second thing, Hari Bhakti Ratihi Sada. Whatever time after our duty is over, and also during our duty, our attachment should always be to Hari Bhakti, to Krishna Bhakti. And if these two things are there, then the past won't touch us, the future would not put us in anxiety. We will actually live a happy life in this material world. And this material world, we can make it a spiritual world by conducting ourselves in this way. And this is what exactly Bhīṣmadeva is actually telling the Pandavas. So, any questions or comments, Prabhu's Matajis? Okay, we'll move on to text number 18. Esha Vai Bhagavan Sakshat. Sorry, text number 16. Nahyasya karhachidrajan pumam veda vidiksitam yadvignasaya yukta muyanti kavayopihi. Would anyone like to read the translation and the paper?
Yes.
Hare-
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Can I
Krishna
read it?
Prabhu.
Sorry, I don't know who's speaking. Yes, there is a Zoom user. You can go ahead since we don't know who you are.
Hare Krishna, can I read it, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Okay. A translation was Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Oh Krishna, no one can know the plan of the Lord, Sri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. Prabhupada Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai. The bewilderment of Maharaja Yudhishthira over his past sinful acts and the resultant sufferings, etc., is completely negated by great authority like Bhishma, one of the 12 authorized persons. Bhishma wanted to impress upon Maharaja Yudhishthira that since time immemorial, no one, including such demigods as Shiva and Brahma, could assert the real plan of the Lord. So what can we understand about it? It is useless also to inquire about it. Even the exhaustive philosophical inquiries of sages cannot ascertain the plan of the Lord. The best policy is simply to abide by the orders of the Lord without argument. The sufferings of the Pandavas are never due to their past deeds. The Lord had to execute the plan of establishing the kingdom of virtue, and therefore his own devotees suffered temporarily in order to establish the conquest of virtue. Bhīṣmadeva was certainly satisfied by seeing the triumph of virtue, and he was glad to see King Yudhishthira on the throne, although he himself fought against him. Even a great fighter like Bhīṣma could not win the battle of Kurukshetra, because the Lord wanted to show that vice cannot conquer virtue, regardless of who tries to execute it. Bhīṣmadeva was a great devotee of the Lord, but he chose to fight against the Pandavas by the will of the Lord, because the Lord wanted to show that a fighter like Bhīṣma cannot win on the wrong side. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Matir. The points to understand in this paper is that no matter how much we may materially and intelligently calculate to overcome a reversals, we actually cannot win. Duryodhana tried to use his intelligence to get assistance from Krishna. And when Krishna said he won't fight, but he will only be on the side without any weapons, whoever chooses him as an advisor. So Duryodhana said, we are fighting a war. We need people who will fight. And what is the use of having Krishna if he's not fighting? So he opted for Krishna's vast army. So nonetheless, he was defeated. So similarly, we also, at each step of our life, try to counteract the problems that are coming to us. Rather than counteracting those problems, we should accept those problems, tolerate those problems, and try to approach those problems in such a way that what is life throwing at me, so that from this I can learn and grow. Because each problem that comes in our life is a test that Krishna has thrown. And this test, in previous times and previous lives, we have failed. Therefore, these tests are coming again and again until we pass. So just acceptance of things and having a sense of contentment and satisfaction and trying to grow. Not that we don't aspire for things. We can aspire for things, but we aspire for things within our own domain of swadharma, duty. As soon as we start comparing ourselves that, oh, this person has got nice car, this person has got nice house, I wish I had that. Or this person has such nice relationships, this person has such nice qualities, I want to be like them. Rather than doing such comparisons, we should be appreciating all the good that everyone has and all the good that everyone is, but at the same time, not becoming overburdened with this Duryodhana mentality that everything the Pandavas have, I want. Actually, the definition of Pandita that Chanaka Pandita gives is that one who sees others' wealth and assets as pebbles, and one who treats others as he would like to be treated himself, and one who sees other spouses as their mother. So this is actually the sign of knowledge, and the knowledge means humility. And in this way, if we approach life, then we will have a sense of contentment. We will live in present, what my duty is currently, and at the same time have devotion for Krishna, and we'll be able to chant nicely, live peacefully, and be in harmony of whatever life is throwing at us. And guess what? Even though reversals may be there, by dint of our adherence to religious principle, and by dint of being under the shelter of Krishna and always being attracted to his message, and by dint of always being guided by pure devotees of the Lord, remaining under the shelter of our Siksha Gurus, our Diksha Gurus, we will become immune from experiencing those miseries, even though those miseries will be present. So Krishna, Bhīṣmadeva here is saying that actually we cannot understand the plan of Krishna. It is no use saying, why is Krishna doing this to me? It is most important to understand that this has come our way because Krishna has ultimately sanctioned it, because Krishna wants to give us an opportunity to learn from this and also grow from this. You know, there's example of the butterfly. Before butterfly becomes a butterfly, it's in the cocoon. And if someone sees that, oh, this caterpillar is struggling to get out of the cocoon, and just takes the outer layer of the cocoon out, but guess what? The butterfly will not develop strong enough wings to fly, and other insects will come and eat it up. So when the butterfly goes through the difficulty, it builds its muscles in the wings. It develops its wings nicely so it can fly. So similarly, when difficulties are thrown at us, we develop spiritual muscles to tolerate and to go beyond these reverses and grow. And it is a wonderful opportunity for us to embrace and grow. Just imagine if Srila Prabhupada, did not go through the hardship throughout his Grahastha life and throughout his life to, in his efforts to translate his book and go to America, what glory would be there, of his achievement. But because he went through so much hardships and difficulty, his surrender to Krishna was 10% complete, and all glory came to him. So Krishna wants to glorify his devotees, and for that purpose, he wants to make the devotees pakka. Pakka means mature. And there's so many points to be mentioned, and I'm already Krishna over time on a weekday. My apologies. Krishna willing, we'll have more discussion on these nice verses tomorrow. Jai. Grantra Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you.
Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.